I mean, initially the garden space was to just make it a bit cleaner, make it look like it was a little bit more loved. We had a chat and we said, why don't we make it into a wildlife garden where we can kind of extend Newlyn Green on a little bit more, but also make this an area where people would want to come and have a look at it. You know, it's actually turned into a beautiful space.
It was a bit of a non-existent area, and because it's so shady, it's tricky. And you said, what about a wildlife pond? And we kind of talked about the idea, and then you did some plans, didn't you? And you said, right, so I think wildflowers at the front, you know, a bit of a pond, let's structure it a bit, expose that sculpture, which was actually done by an artist sort of 15 years ago, I think, which was completely overgrown. And yeah, and it just started evolving. The sign behind us, again, was, I think it was made at the same time that this sculpture was made, and it's just been in the gallery in my office actually for ages, and we've kind of not known what to do with it. And I said, oh, how about just bring it out here?
So end of August last year, we kind of reviewed the site. We saw that we needed to basically just clear the site first. Huge amounts of brambles. There was a very invasive species that had kind of just taken over the whole site. So me and 3 others, basically on the first day, spent the whole day just clearing 2 large areas. The first one being access to the site. There was no path there. The whole site was on a huge gradient, just sloping down to the building. So any kind of large rainfall, you would just get sort of a flooded area kind of at the bottom. And it just made moving around the site for anyone, like future-proofing, anyone with any mobility issues, it just wasn't going to be viable.
There was a team of volunteers that came in to do all the weeding, and then we were given a load of plants donated, all free, and I helped plant them up. And I also created this, I have a wildflower meadow at home, so at the front here was all brambles, cleared the brambles, and we decided to do a little wildflower meadow. Unfortunately, it's north facing, so we don't get a lot of sun, so I wasn't sure how it would work, but oxeye daisies seem to grow anywhere, so they've been doing fine. And then the pond idea, again, I have a pond at home, so donated some of the stock from my pond to get this little pond going.
We're trying to introduce the largest amount of habitat types in such a small space. So areas where there's rock, areas where there's ground cover with plants, hedgerows, wildlife areas that are full of wildflowers, places for birds to nest. I mean, we've had fledgling blackbirds, we've got a robin pair have had chicks here.
It's just maintenance now, maintaining it, but it would be great to see some sculpture in the space, wouldn't it? And maybe that could go into the kind of main garden as well. We've also started using Belitho gardens a lot more, which is used by the council, so it's the gardens in front of the gallery. But I think seeing what Mick's done here has inspired the council and the Environment Agency to actually put a bit more time and energy into that garden. So the Environment Agency donated the council $5,000 for their wildflower planting that's gone on out there. And they've allowed us to open the fence up as well, so we're using it a lot more. And we have our kids' activities going on out there because we're an educational charity. It's just such a lovely use of the space, which, yeah, it feels like the green and this space is not anymore just kind of like a dog walking spot, but actually it's somewhere that, you know, the community can use. It makes it really accessible to the local community.